Hello and welcome to the Youth Intake Challenge episode 36. It's time for the mid-season 12 update. I'm going to make sure everything's still time-stamped like we did in the previous episode, so you can skip to the bits you want. We'll go through a bit of competition review, a little bit dip into tactics and training, and we'll do a bit of a player focus on, I think, 4 or 5 players as well, just to see how they're getting on. So it's going well so far. Stay tuned and you'll see just how well. And here we go. So straight away you can see we're up in the playoffs. We're 5th in the league on 36 points. We're actually only 8 points off the top, which is a massive surprise. It was a pretty slow start to the season, which we'll see when we get through the schedule. But in terms of league position, from where we just scraped outside relegation last year, we've come on leaps and bounds. It might be a formation change. It might be some of the players have developed slightly higher. It could be to do with the training, that we're a bit more focused on what we want. Or it could be the dynamics. It's quite hard to put all them puzzles together and see which one is the catalyst of the upsurge. However, we're riding the crest of a wave, and long may it continue. In terms of the FA Cup, got knocked out in the first round by Southend, which we'll see in the schedule in a minute. Carabao Cup, we did pretty well. We got past the first round, and then we got a tie away at Norwich, which again we didn't embarrass ourselves. However, they're a much bigger team than we are currently, and they knocked us out. And then the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, I felt we were a little bit unlucky to get knocked out. I think in one stage in the third game we were actually going through, but results and conspired against us, and we dropped out of it. So still not too bad. Need to focus on the league. I'm not sure we can make a realistic promotion push. I mean, I can't say never because we're only 4 points out of it. But most of these clubs are probably strengthened in the January transfer window, which we can't do. So we'll probably just aim, if we can, for an outside shot of the playoffs and see where we go from there. In terms of schedule then, as I said, fairly slow start. I mean, the 1-1 draw you'd seen, we got a home win on penalties in the Carabao Cup against Rotherham, like I said, and a good little bit of progress to get us an away tie at Norwich, which you can see there. We got beat 3-1. Dunk did get a consolation goal in that game, but not too bad. In the league again, it much continued with draws. Etodo and Dunk getting 2 goals in a 2-2 draw with Walsall. We drew 2-2 away at Crewe with a goal from Etodo again and Brathwaite, and Etodo's having a really good season at the minute. Colchester we drew again 0-0. MK Dons beat us on penalties in the Bristol Motors Trophy. We got first win of the season in the league, I think, was it? No, I've skipped ahead there. We got a 7-2 victory at FC United. How did I miss that? Which was unbelievable, completely out of the blue. So we'd drawn 3 games and we came up with a massive win. Hat-trick for Tony Dunk, Moses with a goal, Dimitriadis, and then Van Den Heuvel, one of the youngsters through the latest intake. He came on and got a couple of goals. He was actually playing up front at the time, so it's no surprise he took over from Dunk, so we could give him a bit of a rest. We then got a 3-0 win against Wickham at home. Dimitriadis, Dunk with another goal, and Peterson. A bit of a losing streak. Got beat 3-2 by Bromley and 1-0 by Woking. Rolled into October. We picked up draws against Chester, Carlisle and Sutton, but we picked up some wins against Morecambe, Stockport and Bradford. And again, you can see lots of goals for some good players there. Juddy Mandanda, another one who's really surprised us this season, and we'll focus on him later on because he's having a terrific season. Christopher Friday, if I remember, I'll put in he scored a free kick in a 1-0 victory against Tranmere in the first minute, which we won 1-0. It was absolutely fantastic. I'll try and dig that out for you so you can see it. FA Cup away at Southend, we got beat 1-0. Again, tight game. Didn't embarrass ourselves. Stayed in it for a long time, but unfortunately we couldn't hold on to it. Rolling through November then, we got a draw with Grimsby. We beat Aldershot 3-2. Another goal for Van Den Heuvel. Etodo with another couple as well, so you can see he's having a good season. Burton, another 2 for Tony Dunk. Dorking, we beat 3-1. Raxo, Dunk and Moses. Tranmere, which I hinted to earlier, Friday with an absolutely terrific free kick in the first minute. And then just before now, a 1-1 draw with Lincoln. So that's how we've set up in the league, and that's how we've got to the position we're in, which is absolutely fantastic. In terms of the squad itself then, you can see lots of players. Last 5 game form is really good. I mean, the picks of the bunch. Van Den Heuvel, the new youngster. Etodo's having a great season. Dunk, who's already got 12 goals this season in 20 appearances, which is great. Friday, 7.12 average as a new 17-year-old centre-half, so he's really integrating himself into the team now. Juddy Mandanda, massive surprise here, coming in the middle of the park. Only 17, 13 appearances already, 3 goals and 4 assists. Who else have we got in there? Brathwaite was having a good season, but he just picked up a bit of an injury. He's going to be out for a little while. And Dean Spence, not having the best in terms of rating, but as a solid 18 games we've got out of him so far. So all is going pretty good. In terms of the under 18 side of it, we've kind of tweaked a couple of players there. I've pushed some more back down into like Brustat. He's not getting as many games. Coleman's having a good season at right back, so Potter's covering for that, while Brustad gets the benefits of being in the under 18 squad. And then a huge number of players we've put out on loan. So what's pleasing to see is the squad size is a little better than it was a couple of seasons ago. We've thinned the numbers down. We've got them all below 20, apart from Hallett in the under 18 team. I mean, he's still in there, but he's out on loan. It's just it doesn't clutter out the squad. Going into a bit of a player focus then. I mean, the ones I really want to look at. I mean, Tony Dunk, who's got 12 goals in 20 games. I mean, he already had pretty good stats in there. If we look at him in terms of his development, his progress is on an upward scale. I mean, he's playing week in, week out. He's probably our starting striker for just about every game. We do have a Mal Taylor. He plays a few games. Van Den Heuvel covers. In fact, Tony Watson's not really played too many games. The Canadian who I was going to play as the reserve, but there you go. I mean, it's just the way it's panned out. His all-time stat development, again, you can't see a couple in the bottom right, which I still haven't sorted out yet, but pace and stamina have both gone up by 1 and 2 respectively. You can see his mental attributes have gone up really well. I could do with his technical going up a little bit. I might need to look at his individual focus, but again, he's banging in the goals, and we're really happy with the progress he's making. Value's not quite where we want it to be. It's going to come a point where he's going to start attracting interest from bigger clubs, and he scored 30 goals in 53 games, which is not to be sniffed at, but I think if we can keep him fit and get him going through the rest of the season, he's going to absolutely smash his goal tally from last season. Next one we want to focus on is Coleman, if I can find him. Calum Coleman, the young right back. Now, he was going to play kind of second fiddle, but we fired him in and dropped Potter out, and he's come on really well. So 7.9 average, 12 games, 5 assists. I think he had 3 of them assists in one game. But fairly determined, really good spread of stats in terms of his development. He is on a massive upward curve because he's playing a lot of games. We've got him on a training focus for the position we want him in, and then again in terms of his attributes, he's had some monster changes really, especially within the mental side of the game. And if he keeps going on at the pace he's going, he's going to be an absolutely tremendous player. What you can't see, and I'll just cover it for you in the back, is the other stats that he's got an increase on is pace, stamina and strength, which is a 3-2-2 respectively. So he's 12 pace, 12 stamina, 8 strength. So again, really well-rounded right back, and if his form continues, it'll be even longer before Brustat can find his way into the team. So that's terrific. Third one we'll look at is Juddy Mandanda. He's covered a lot for Dean Spence, Congolese, a 17-year-old. He was here for a little while. Didn't get so many games last season. Kind of avoided him to a degree because he was in that advanced midfield role. However, we're now playing him more centrally and in training him as such. And again, he's had 9 appearances, 8 substitute appearances, 2 goals, 4 assists. His stat development progress. In terms of progress, he's just going up now as he gets more and more game time with Spence being on international duty, etc. And his all-time stats haven't really changed too much, but I think they will start to pick up soon. But unlike some of the other players, I think his stat spread was already looking pretty good. It was a really good mental spread. Physicals are really good at this level, and defensively as a ball-win midfielder, he's got the tackling and the marking as well. So he really does plug a gap that we've needed for a long time in midfield. Next one we'll go on is Christopher Friday, centre-half, Nigerian. And I'll try and link his video of his goal in here while we're talking, just so you can see it, because it's an absolute beauty. Really big, tall centre-half, really good stat spread from the word go. Again, his development curve massively going up. He's playing more and more games than I thought he would have by this stage. Much to do with McAvoy and Atienza just can't play every single game, but Friday stands in with no problem whatsoever. In fact, to some extent, you would think he's going to go past some of them very soon. Again, his stats are going up tremendously quickly. His mental side's brilliant in terms of anticipation, etc. And again, it's physical. So again, you can't see in the bottom, and I will, I promise, find a way to move my face. Somebody's told me you film it as 2 big screens, and then I can move my face out the way. But pace, stamina, strength all gone up by 2 as well. So again, I think at 17, he's probably going to be our best centre half very, very soon. Which, considering we've got McAvoy and Atienza in there, is no mean feat. Last one to really look at, and only because he's one of the youngsters that came through the latest kind of intake, is Renaldo Van Den Heuvel, who I didn't think would get too many games by this stage. You can see his average ratings down the bottom. I know you can't because my face is in the way, but he's got an average of 7.57. He's played 5 games, 3 goals, 4 assists, which shows you that he makes an impact when he does come on. Only 16, so don't expect to see too much in terms of a stat development from him. However, I think his progress curve is probably a quite sharper rise. We bring him in largely on the right-hand side of midfield, and sometimes we bring him in up front. But again, as a 16-year-old Dutchman, I mean, he could oust Moses potentially on the right-hand side, or we develop him fully as a striker. Although his finishing's a little bit low, we use him as cover for Tony Dunk. But that's a kind of an update on where we are in terms of the players. And that's us finished. We're kind of looking at them. What I'll do is next time around I'll focus on a number of different players, so we don't keep going over the same players over and over again. And that being said, if anyone's got anyone they specifically want to look at, just let me know in the comment section and I'll pencil it in for the next episode. Next thing we look at then is the tactics. That's what we settled on. We've maintained the cautious approach throughout. I thought it might be a detriment to our goal scoring, however, we're still capable of scoring goals and we're still capable of winning games. We've got 2 central defenders just on defend, a couple fullbacks on support, so nothing too drastic in terms of pushing forward. The midfield 3 I think is key, because I think with the midfielders we've got, we have to play 3 in there. Peterson's kind of taken over a little bit ahead of Raksu in that defensive midfielder role. Spence are normally put in the attacking midfield role depending on who's available, and then we've got Mandanda, Lynch, Raksu, who can all come in them 3 as well. So a good solid 6 players in there. And then wingers, we've got lots of good wingers at the club, so we'll keep them in there. Moses having a really good season. I don't know if his stats on here, but he's already at 4 goals, which for someone who I was considering dropping at the start of the season is fantastic. Dimitri is still in the team, although Itodo's not too far. Itodo's got 6 goals from the left-hand side, so you can see he's actually playing quite a lot of games. Last little thing to look at really is dynamics. You can see for the first time in a long time there is nobody grumpy or disheartened or wanting to leave, etc. The cohesion's right at the top. The atmosphere is fantastic. Managerial support is great. I don't know if it's down to you can praise players when they're doing their training side. If I just show you quickly, you normally get your individual training report comes through. It normally gives you the top kind of 3 when it comes through in the email, and you can praise them when they've got a high rating. Normally I go anyone above an 8, which you can see there. That's a huge number of players that we can constantly give a little bit of a morale boost, which is keeping the morale high, which, as we all know, is really key to the results on Football Manager. So if any of you are struggling and you've got players who are training well, just make sure you praise them, because it can boost up them morale stats. Last thing to do really then is to get through the youth intake preview. So there you go. It looks like an excellent intake according to that, but I think it says that every single time. It looks like we've got a forward who could be considered a fine prospect, so again that might be competition for Dunk, but I think by that stage Dunk will have cemented that it's a first team place of his own. Another goalkeeper coming through. We're a bit light on fullbacks coming through again, which is a bit of a problem. We've got 3 central midfielders, although they're not apparently that great, but as an intake, another centre half, if one of them is good, one midfield is good and the striker is good, that's not bad. What would be nice would be if one of the fullbacks was alright as well. However, the last intake was quite nice to us on terms of fullbacks. That's us done in terms of the episode, in terms of the review. Hopefully that's caught you up with where we are. I will plod along and see if we can maintain our form at the top of the top end of the league, and see if we can cement ourselves someplace in the playoffs. And I'll come back to you when the youth intake comes through around about March time. So once again, thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend. Everybody cheer for England on Sunday. And hopefully next time I see you, England will be European champions. Take care, and I'll see you soon.